of us that have been in recovery from drug abuse or alcohol use for years, maybe people just starting recovery, and in some cases our loved ones, kind of face a new and serious dilemma and challenge in addition to the challenge we face in getting into recovery or maintaining our recovery. And we find out, somebody tells us that we have this hepatitis C. We go, I'm not sick, what's that? I feel fine. And it's kind of two reactions you get from it. Some people panic because they've heard of hepatitis and they think the world is about to end. And other people have the reaction, what are you talking about? I'm doing great. There's nothing wrong with me and I don't feel sick. But it's something that disproportionately affects people in recovery and people who are abusing drugs or have abused drugs in the past. And today we're going to take a little look at it and try to understand what that's about, as it's a special issue for recovering folks. And to understand hepatitis C, we have to understand our friend here in our liver. And our liver kind of sits here where that arrow is in people. And we'll understand what that's about. And it's very important that, in fact, without your liver, well, you kind of get the picture there. Without your liver, you die. The liver is extremely important to one's life and its functions. In fact, the liver is kind of the ultimate multitasking organ. It's about the size of a football. It performs about 500 bodily functions. So it does a whole lot of things simultaneously every day for you. It processes things. Everything you breathe, absorb through your skin, or eat, the liver has a role in processing. It has a big role in converting all your foodstuffs into energy. And that's one of its main tasks. Another part of the liver is it makes muscles, hormones, and immune factors for your body. It also is important in storing things. As I said, it's a multitasker. It stores stuff, so it stores all your vitamins that you need, minerals that you need, and sugars and energy and building blocks for use at some time as you go through your daily life. It's also important in digestion. Not only does it store the stuff, as you eat your food stuff, it produces bile and gets rid of bad things from your blood. The bile goes in as well and helps you absorb things from your foods in order to be processed and used by the body. It also detoxifies stuff, like drugs and alcohol. It takes all the things that come into your body, will chop it up, and it makes them friends of the body as opposed to enemies of it. Important function of the old liver, it makes a protein that makes your blood clot. And in fact, without that protein, you would bleed to death. In fact, we should have some reverence for our friend, the liver. It's truly the multitasking, truly the miracle organ in our bodies, and performs more and different functions than almost any other organ for us. And let's take a look at it to understand it. Slice it open and let's go in deep into the liver and go into the blood vessels and look how it works. And as we entered here, these are two blood vessels deep at the cellular level of your liver, right here. And it kind of works like a Mr. Coffee percolator. What happens here is the blood comes in here and filters across to this other blood vessel where it exits the liver. So each blood cell comes in intimate contact with these individual liver cells. And that's how the liver performs all that magic function that it has. But something can happen to the liver, and we have to introduce the enemy now. And I want to show you a really neat picture of this guy right here. Right here, we're looking at an individual hepatitis C virus. That's an actual picture of the virus, this little round guy right in here. And let me tell you a little bit about viruses. Viruses are fascinating organisms that are on the planet. We know bacteria are small, and viruses are much smaller than they are. And what they are is a little tiny piece of genetic material. In other words, the stuff that's in the nucleus of all our cells. And they cannot live and exist without us. What they do is they come into the body, and they take their little molecule of genetic material and inject it into our nucleus of our cells. And they take over the machinery of our body's own cells and tell that nucleus of our cells, just make more of me. In other words, the virus. So inside our cells, they replicate until the cell explodes, and destroys the cell that's the host. It's the only way they work. They exist in no other place except for our bodies and the ability to take over the cellular machinery. And let's look at how that'll affect parts of our body, particularly our liver. Here's our liver cells again. An individual cell, let's point one out, right in here, this guy here. We're going to infect that with a hepatitis C virus that got into us. Let's see what happens. Right here, you'll notice the other ones were kind of long. This one is all swollen, and the virus has gone in there, taken over the nucleus of that cell and said, make more of me, and the cell is ready to burst. The cell then bursts, the virus spreads to other cells, and that cell dies. Now, as you can see, these cells are kind of round and plump, and the other ones were kind of skinny. So what happens if we look at a whole liver? Well, there's our liver again. I'm going to take this, infect it with the cells, and take a peek at it. And our liver makes a dramatic change in appearance. But that doesn't happen to everyone, but that's the end stage, and that's why this is important to understand this virus, what happens if it infects us, and how we get treated for it and prevent its transmission and prevent it from affecting us.